Look at this. It's time to start already. I just walked in here. If other people want to come in, we will let them, but I think we'll just start. All right? That sounds great. If you all want to stay in here, it's great. You can. But we're going to be, just have a seat. This is the greatest. I mean, several people do already. Okay, good. All right. Excellent. Don't you get tired of that? You know, that just, don't you need some tearaway sleeves on your clothes sometimes? Like, hey, senora, hey, senora. It's like constantly messing with you. With this, but I've worked at it and found ways that really help people with it. I first saw this several years ago with Alina Filipescu in Orange County. If you ever get a chance to go see her, she's wonderful. She works in Orange County at a middle school for gifted and talented kids, and really does a fabulous job. But this has changed my life, changed my classes, changed my students' attitudes about me, but mainly I've gotten to know them better. You know, besides doing special person interviews, this is the way that you really get to know them because you see each one of them. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos here. So this is the closest I get to a password. It's not really a password, right? But you create community connections and you communicate. When I talk about a password, I'm not talking about this. Say the secret word. I don't know it. That's right. Come on in. Right. No, that's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. This is a Spanish 1 class, and the password is Todavía eres chévere. You're still cool. This was in March, and in March, this is kind of the downer thing of this. March and April, everyone is sick of school, and so I do really encouraging passwords. Oh, I know what's going on.
No, it's buzzing so plug it in. It'll buzz until I unplug it.
You plugged it.
But it won't.
Will it plug into my computer?
I don't plug it. You can turn on the volume of the audio again. Sometimes that helps.
There we go. Okay. That should work. Okay. In March, I like to give super encouraging things. We're all sick of school. The kids that have been bullied have had it. And April is when school shootings happen. We had one in Colorado, and know how, if at all possible, in my class. And so and they start saying to each other. Friday at the end of class, and then the next week. This, in this particular instance, is really interesting. And it was many of the classes were gone. Like, I don't know it. I wasn't here. All this stuff. And I'm like, what was it before? Do you remember the one from last week? And the one before had just been chévere, because that was a mouthful for a Spanish 1 to say that. So we're getting ready to say this. This is after lunch. One kid has food on his face. I help him with that. If they don't know it, they stand beside me. There's one kid, real big kid, and he comes up, he doesn't know it, he goes, It just stands beside me, you know. It's just so like he's a bowling pin, you know, going around. And there's a couple kids that are holding back, listening, you know, trying to figure out. A couple kids that just like are beaming because they said it right. They're so proud of themselves. You know, a couple kids, this one kid had never said it right the first time the whole year long. And he was like, I'm like, you got it right the first time, dude. That is great, you know. I mean, but I just wanted you to notice as many of these friendly type behaviors I'm doing with them. And then we'll talk a little bit about it. Stand right here. ¿Qué pasa? So you got it. Because it says that it's says the same thing still.
Hold on, give me a second. I really do know it. In Syria? There was an Eris.
Except for two. Okay, there's so much going on there. I could talk about this for 2 hours, just only about this. But what kind of friendly stuff did you see me doing with these kids? I know it's late, but you guys, tu también, saying it to them. You are too. You too. You too. You tu también. What else?
Positive words. Fantastico.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting right positive stuff. What else?
Something punitive for the kids who didn't get it.
Right. I didn't make them feel stupid, you know. It's just like you just stand here too. That also helps with the kid who's like, every once in a while you say, I'm not going to say your stupid password, senor. You know, and you just go, oh, just stand here until you get it. Like you act like they're a little bit slow, not like they're trying to fight with you, you know. Just stand here, you'll get it, you know. And it's, you know, they're like, no, you understand. I hate you. I'm going to fight you. You know, it's like, just you'll get it. I'm sure you'll get it. Just hold on, you know. And there's like 30 other kids are streaming by, smiling. The social pressure just like gets to them, and they finally, fine, todavía eres chévere, you know, and it really helps. What else?
Do you
Yeah.
allow them to read it or have it on their phone or that kind of thing?
I do. Yeah, the first day or something. This one girl was reading it. She had it written on a piece of paper there, you know.
But after that?
I usually don't, you know.
Tell them.
You know, I just stand beside me until you get it, you know. Okay. You know, and that's the sense is not a bouncer, you know. Right. It's more like you're like a Walmart greeter, right? You know. Yeah.
Requiring them to be polite.
Yeah, right. You know, the kid had the stuff on his, You know, I mean, lunch had been over for like a half hour. He's walking around the school, a piece of food on his. He's in the whole school. You know, come on. You know, and a lot of kids are like ghosts. Like no one looks them in the eye. Nobody contacts them. Nobody sees them. No adults. I mean, we're all. Through this, they don't even exist. You can see them. You can see them walking down the hall. And you can see what their body language is, how they're dressed, how they're acting, and you can just read them. After like a week or two, you just get it. You just get their baseline on them, and you just know how they're feeling today just by the way they're moving. You get to know your kids. If you're sitting still, you're not interacting enough with one another, and I can read a little bit about you, but I can't tell, you know, how you're feeling about things, you know. With kids walking down the hall, you can just totally nail them. You know, you need a minute. Why don't you go with her down to the bathroom? Go. You know what I mean? Just like before they come into class, you just know what's going on. Hey, are you upset? Are you mad about something today? Just wait for a second here. When everybody, I want to talk to you. You know, I mean, it's like you can just handle it before class starts. I'll even do it in English out in the hall because that's not class yet. You know, and so I can just handle things, and it just works wonderfully. They can't come into the class until you say it. And so you don't have to depend on your willpower keeping them out of the class. For 1 week, you have to say, no, you guys, no, wait, I'll be there in a second. No, stand back, just go back in there. No, don't come in, just stand out there. I will be there. Okay, no, you can't come in here either. You need to wait. I'll be there. Okay, thank you. You do that, you say those exact words in all 6 of your classes every day for a week, and then eventually you will be sitting in your room like, where is everybody? You know, they're waiting outside. They're doing what you asked them to do, right? And so your willpower is not forcing them to stay back. It's just they're trained to do it and they won't force it. And if you're on a schedule, you know, you're going to schedule, you got to go to the restroom, 3rd hour, you just assign a kid. If I'm not here 2 minutes before the bell rings, so-and-so steps up, here's the passwords, and they come in. You know, and so there's all kinds of ways to handle that. Did you notice how much I was touching some of these kids when they came? A book called Chimpanzee Politics by a guy named Franz Duval because I just like biology. And this book isn't that. The biggest, meanest one that is most influenced in the group. It's the one that touches the most other chimpanzees. The one that grooms. Do that. Oh my goodness! In Iowa, you should know that better than anybody, right? They're all over the dog, and you can't go to a coffee shop without running into a politician, probably, right? Politicians know that. The more you see people touch, they want to shake hands and kiss babies, right? You know, that's why. The more people you touch, the more you have control in a group. And so for years, I tried to do that. Come to find out, this is new news, last 3 or 4 years, with magnetic resonance imaging that they can look inside the brain. There are nerve fibers in your shoulder, in your arm, and in your cheeks that don't exist they don't transmit pain, they don't transmit heat or cold or anything else, pressure. They exist to transmit social touch. Isn't that interesting? The pleasantness of social touch. When that happens, when someone touches you in a friendly way, you get a hit of dopamine. You get a hit of cortisone. Not cortisol. Cortisol is a bad one. Cortisone is the group binding hormone that makes you feel good about being part of this group. But doesn't that make so much sense? I mean, does it make total sense? How many people teach French here? Okay. Spanish? Most of the rest, right? Spanish and French, at least we know. Italian, anybody? All right. All those. Portuguese. Kissing on the cheek to greet people and say goodbye. It's like that's part of the cultures we teach. Hugging hugging everyone, shaking hands with everyone. It's like it takes so much time to go to parties, and when I'm in Latin America, it's silly, to greet everybody, say goodbye to everybody, right? How do you comfort a little child, right? You touch him on the cheek, right? Right? It's all right. It's going to be okay. Hey, doing that. You're sending messages to your own self. Going like this. Do you know that? That's what you're doing. It's and just they get meaning cortisone, cortisone, and they're like, I don't know why, but I just love Spanish class. We can use any trick that we can. Okay?
Not to be the devil's advocate out there, but what do you do with school districts, or what do you recommend to teachers in school districts where they say, let's not be touching those students?
I would quit and I would get a new school district because they don't know how to teach human beings anymore. Okay. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's like, oh, you think we teach robots? That's how you teach robots, not human beings. I used to be a lot easier on that. It was like, they don't get it. And if they've made a policy like that, you can't fight idiocy like that. Go find a different school to work at. Because how can you teach kids and not touch them? Oh my gosh. I mean, I couldn't do it. And I don't touch every single kid, because you realize you get signals where you're not supposed to touch, that's fine. But, that's just dumb. Maybe we'll outgrow that in our culture in a couple of years, We're just like overreacting, Never touch anyone? That's silly. Anyway, that's my harsh position on that. But
I get that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I was kind of going to bring up the same topic. One way I got around that is right away in the first week of school, I started talking about the culture and how we greet on the sheet. We talked about touch students. I have permission right away up front from the students who want to be touched and are okay with it and which ones aren't. And you know what? In the hallways under the cameras in front of the administrators, they're coming up and saying, can I have a hug?
Mm-hmm.
But I said it out there right away.
Yeah.
And I have permission right off the bat, and it's part of the culture, it's part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
To connect with one another. If you're not comfortable, please let me know, and we'll come up with something different.
Yeah.
A fist bump or a thumbs up or a sign, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't touch every kid, but it's helpful. Yeah. Did you have a comment?
How does the German handshake fall into this?
A German handshake? What is it? How's a German handshake different?
Just in general.
Yeah.
Does this research include the hand, or is
it? It's just here,
okay.
in here, as far as I know. So yeah. Yeah.
Quick.
It's still touching. It's still touching. It's helpful. So there's some other things we're going to learn about. This, lest you think that every single time in class it's just something super simple like that. This Spanish 3 class, no matter how many levels I'm teaching, I just do a novice password and an intermediate password. Some people do a different password for every level or for every class. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough brain cells in my head. I know a Chinese teacher in Kansas City, he does a different password every day. Every night he puts a different one online. The kids have to check online at night and have it and be ready to say it the next day. I'm just like, it was like, I don't novice one and one intermediate one. It's a week. And the novices can say the intermediate one if they want to. But yes.
Can you go back to your last slide?
Yeah. called Subliminal by Leonard Mlodinow. I think that's how you pronounce it. But this book's only 2-3 years old. Anyway, so here's a Spanish read. This is a way, way different example. In Spanish 3 or 4 or AP, they say the same thing all week long. But I wanted to show you also here, this one I said, just give me your favorite password so far this year. Go. No review, no nothing. Just tell me your favorite one. And there's quite the variety. This first kid does a tongue twister to practice your double R's. The next 3 kids do wise sayings in Spanish. This other tall kid right here is about the 5th one back in line. He says an ancient Spanish wise saying. Another kid, he says a bit of Spanish poetry. There's 2 kids that totally, cop out. The 2 kids say S-O-C-K-S, which in Spanish, if you spell socks in English, it means like that's exactly right or something like that. That's a password from Spanish 1, And I'm like, oh, dang. Okay, it had to have been this year, you guys, whatever. But a couple of them, they just go S-O-C-K-S and walk in. But anyway, just listen to the variety that they had, unrehearsed, just favorite password, go.
Rápido corren los carros de ferrocarril.
No sé nada, se mora en una boda. El tiempo es gordo. ¿A quién madruga que los veía?
Allí donde fueres, hasta que llegues. El poderoso caballero es con dinero. ¿Quién madruga Dios veía? ¿A quién madruga Dios le ayuda? El tiempo es oro.
Pronunciation, right? And we never pronounce. We just in my classes. They're fluent, good stuff. Because I think it helps on the AP test when they can just like instantly apply something, wise saying or poetry from Spanish culture to the topic they're talking about, and just throw it at them. They know exactly how to use it, and they say it quickly. I think it really helps them a ton. But I wanted to show you that it's not all super like one word or something like that. So that's how this works. Now, why does this work? I think it's like admittance to a special club. Frank Smith, who Stephen Krashen said, this guy, Frank Smith, is his guru for reading. So if this is the guy that Stephen Krashen thinks knows a lot about reading, I'm going to listen to this guy, right? So he says learning language is like becoming a member of a club. And so this kind of formalizes it just a little bit. It's like you're coming to a club. If a kid learns the password and they say it to me, they can come into my class. And I have kids all the time that are supposed to be in math class. And they come into my class and they're all snickering, It's like, whatever. In lunchtime, if they say the password, they can come into my class. Some people go crazy on it. They won't let anyone in the class, even a kid with a note, even an administrator, unless they say the password. And like I don't do that. Late kids, they don't have to say it. They just say, lo siento, I'm sorry, and then sit down. But you can do whatever you want. But I think that's part of it. I think another part, you're asking for a small favor. You're asking for help in a little bit. Just help me. Just say a stupid password, man. Come on. Benjamin Franklin figured this out, that if someone has done something nice for you, they will like you more. Now, you'll probably hear that wrong because it's a weird kind of thing. You say, okay, if a kid hates me, I should be nice to him. Well, you should be nice to him, but that's not what this is saying. If a kid hates you, you should ask that kid to do something nice for you. You should ask that kid to help you out, and they will like you more. This is a real thing in psychology called the Ben Franklin effect. Glenn, that's his. It's called, and it's a real thing in psychology that it doesn't make sense, but it's like, try it. Someone that doesn't get along with you, ask them to help you out with something. It's work. And to your students, it's sort of like this Marriott 15.5 where I like to teach that wherever I go. Marriott hotels, if you're ever in a Marriott hotel, try them out. They teach parking the car to a housekeeper that's only working there for 3 weeks to their manager. Everyone has to do this in a Marriott hotel. And they're 15 feet away. You make some kind of contact with them, eye contact. When you're 5 feet away, you say something to them. Look them right in the eye and say something to them. I just like to give them an eyebrow flash. That's what they teach me how to do, right? It's fast, all right? Not slow. That's just creepy. Okay. All right. All right. It's got to be a fifth of a second. Just boom. Just pop. Yeah. Yeah. But this is what you do. This works. This works like a dream. It works. It's like, this is how well this works. I stand outside my room and I'm just like, hey, yeah, how's it going? Yeah. You know, even kids aren't in my class. Hey, how's it going? She says, I see you and I like you. You know, I noticed you. I like you. You know, and it just feels good when you do this to people. My wife, and you can ask her about it. She used to work for an orthodontist. They got a new employee, and she comes up and she says, "Have one of your former students, is a new employee." I'm like, "Really?" And I said, "But she says you were her favorite teacher." I'm like, "Really? What's her name?" I didn't recognize the name. I'm like, "Well, take a picture of her." Next day, I'm like, "I don't know this kid. I really don't." When did she graduate, and what class was she in? And it turns out she was never in one of my classes. I'm saying, why? How was I her favorite teacher, and how sad is that? Like 6 years after she graduated, I was her favorite teacher. And she said, every day in class, he stopped me in the hall and asked me how I was doing, said something encouraging to me, and told me I'd have a great day, all 4 years of high school. And I didn't even know who she was. I never did that even once. I gave her the eyebrow flash. All right? Just, hey, how's it going? Like 100 other kids, every day. Hey, yeah, what's up? Yeah.
You might have been the only one that did that for her.
I may have been. Yeah, that's the sad thing. I'm the only one that noticed. Oh my God.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God. I thought but how can they? And we ignore students that walk by us in the hall. It just being friendly. Have to do this. They're trained to. They're on the platform. They want to know who's in a bad way, who's maybe hurting, who can't move well. When they see who's angry, who's already drunk. They want to know who can help them if their emergency happens. And they're sizing you up. They're figuring out which one of those categories you're in while they're saying, hello, thank you for flying, with us. Look up this article. They train them to do this. Don't you think it would help you to do this every day if you had a procedure where you had to see your students and size them up? Don't you think you'd have some trouble? Of course. Here's another reason. I guess I don't have it on this slide. Tell you, I lost it for some reason. Research. There's other research, and this is. I wish I had the URL, but you can look it up. There's a 27% increase in academic engagement Just write 27% increased academic engagement should do this, if you want to look up the article. For teachers that greet their students at the door. That's going from a C- to an A+, if you want to put that way, in how much they're paying attention to your content in your class. Because they know that someone that notices them and likes them is teaching them. And if you don't notice who they are, and if you don't pay any attention to them, if you don't like them, you don't give them liking body language, why should they care at all about you? No matter how articulate you are, or how brilliant you are, or how engaging or how funny you are, it doesn't matter. If you don't know that I like you, then why are you going to pay attention? Especially kids, right? I mean, adults, we can kind of power our way past that. But kids are more just instinctive, and they will just pay attention to you if they like you, right? So that, well, again, while we're doing this, you can tell how they like, who needs extra attention, and how figuring out what their main this is class are led to a 27% increase. It's an edutopia. Welcome student should do it, right? Do you want to hug? Do you want to pat on the back? The teacher that's doing that with elementary kids. There's kinds of faint, little different handshake for every kid. Just saying hello to them. Just greeting them at the door. If you do a password procedure, it does it for you. It makes it work for you. I do things like this, okay? Novice expressions, I do first level 1 and 2. I'll do polite expressions. I'll do fun expressions. If this is too mean for you, don't do that one. But I've heard Mexican teachers say this to their students. You don't say it in a mean way, okay? It's just a fun way. And they're saying it to me, so what the heck, right? I mean, so. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Somebody said, if you'd make it say, mi burro, sabe más que tú, it will have all the vowels in there too. So, it's pretty clever. But yeah, they're saying it to me, so don't say it's to me, okay? Idiomatic expressions. This is the one they were saying in the upper level, or that level 1 class. And that's the one that girl said, so I just put that in there. Like for 4 weeks, like, really? Where you been for all this time? So those are samples for novices. Here's some authentic cultural ones that I would do for upper levels. And intermediate kids can do this. Or lower levels, novice levels can do this too if they like. This is from a famous poem by Quevedo. You may have recognized that if you teach upper levels. A kid said this. It was a password for a little while. The other kid, the very last girl, said this one. And you just do while you're introducing this, you say, why, in the target language, of course, you say, why would a expression about the king of Rome wind up in Spain? Isn't it a long ways from Rome to Spain? And just the Roman emperors came from Spain, and the famous philosopher came from Spain, and just all these other connections with Latin culture and Rome and Spain. That is the son of the king of Rome says, "Speak of the devil," right? And through the door he peeps. It's instead of the devil appearing, just the king of Rome could show up anywhere. Here's why they say this insane, for crying out loud. You just embed the culture in it. Well, they just understand stuff so well. So the way that worked for me, different people do it differently, but this is the way that's worked best for me. I tell it to them on Friday at the end of class. And then I write it on the board. I'll say it to them. I'll write it on the board in Spanish and in English. And then at the end of class, at the very end, you can take out your phone, take a picture of it if you want. You can send it to somebody else if you want to, whatever you like. You can write it down. A lot of kids just write it in their composition books. Again, thank you for sitting in the same spot. They write in their composition books. And at the end of the year, they will know all. We've done like 34, 35 different passwords. They will know all of them. You can give them a test at the end of the year. They will know every single one. It's amazing how well it sticks with them. But the big benefit is that you get a break and you get to see how they're doing, and the classroom management is best. But here's how I do it. I say at the end of class, and I do this probably 2 or 3 times during the week when I want to tell them a secret, like, in other words, when I want them to pay attention to me. All right? And this is an old trick that TPRS teachers do. I don't know if you do this, but I say, clase. I'm sorry. I'm so used to having people say, sí, señor, when I say this. It really bothers me when people don't. Okay. All right. Clase.
Sí, señor.
No, esta pesta. Okay. Otra vez. Clase.
Sí, señor.
No, todos juntos. Sí. Clase.
Sí, señor.
Okay. Bien, mejor. Yeah. I do that all the time with my students. Like, no, that stinks. No, terrible. No, you're wrong. No, bad. And just to get more buy-in from them. And and I'll say clase, sí señor. I'll say, tengo un secreto. Like lean in and whisper to them. And here's what they have to do. You all do it. Una mano en la oreja, right? Inclina tu cuerpo, inclina, right? Y pisa en el piso, fuerte. It's a tile 4, so this is going to be good. Okay, well, practica. ¿Sí? Clase.
Sí, señor.
Tengo un secreto. Okay, casi. Todos juntos, todos. Okay? Ready? All right. Clase.
Sí, señor.
Tengo un secreto. Bien. Perfecto. La frase secreta es, todavía eres chévere. Yeah. Means, and then you take a picture of it. Once a week works pretty well. Upper levels, you can start doing it twice a week if you want to, because they just pick up stuff quicker. But level 1, they don't know how to memorize stuff. They don't know. It's like they just don't get the routine, I like doing it on Friday because I found that makes them remember it better for some reason. This is counter-instinctive. You think, okay, I'll tell them on Monday and they'll remember for the whole week. It works best on Friday because they know, dang, I need to really pay attention to this because I'm not going to remember this by Monday morning. And just their attention is up a little bit. You wouldn't think. You think Friday they'd be all tired, just like you're tired right now, right? But you would think you would think it wouldn't work as well. But it works. They remember it better, in my experience, if you say it on Friday afternoon to them. They remember the whole next week, almost every kid. You saw some fails on that video because a lot of those kids weren't there, right? And you always have some kids that forget it, right? But you just let them stand beside you. So those are my best tricks on that. I would like to give you a little time to actually, instead of just talking to you all day, I would like for you to be able to produce a little bit of something here, okay? So, and what a terrible time. You just quit teaching on Friday. You're brain dead. You've been in all these sessions all day long, God bless you. But let's brainstorm a little bit here and do some novice and or intermediate passwords you can do so you can have a little something with you. If you're just totally fried, I can't think of anything, girl. Just look on Teachers Pay Teachers or, Instagram or something. What?
Más vale la pena.
Más vale la pena. That's good. My grandma, mi abuelita, that's all she said. She only spoke in those little funny little expressions like that, And so there will be someone that will be a gold mine of information in here, probably.
Spring break was man is, which means one is what one eats.
Oh, you are what you eat, yeah.
And to eat in
Yeah.
third person singular, they sound the same. Man is plus one is.
Oh, that is a great one, yeah, because it just. Oh.
I looked up idioms and
Yeah, the right
I like
ones.
the idea of using, did you ever have them actually use lo siento as a password?
I sometimes before, yeah, and that's one of the very first words I teach them, because if they're late to class, they have to say siento, I'm sorry, to all of us, not just me. Just to learn how to be polite to each other, honor the learning process, honor one another. And so every single thing, all we're doing is teach them how to respect each other, like each other, treat each other well. And, but lo siento could easily be one, yeah. Are you too tired to work on this? A kid said that. Yeah. En boca cerrada.
En bocas abiertas entran moscas.
Oh.
I learned it that way. In
Oh, you.
mouths fly flies.
I've only heard the opposite.
Yeah,
How funny. Okay. Wow. That is. Huh. Well, yeah.
Did you ever have students that you weren't able to connect with really well, like
Oh, yeah.
struggled?
Yeah. You bet.
Any tips for them, tricks?
That couldn't say the password.
Freshman students that just are obnoxious, and you just
We got a lot of them. Yeah, we got some of them in Colorado too. Maybe they.
can't break them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have tips?
I will have them stand beside me, right? And I give really accepting body language. One thing that I think that we have to be really careful of as teachers is there's this I don't know why, maybe it's the way we were trained, maybe we went to school or something, but we try to control people by mean looks. We try to control people by disapproving body language, It's like, really? Come on. Gosh. It's like we got to hold ourselves back from rolling our eyes, and just like, oh, for crying out loud, you idiot, You know what I mean? It's like we have to not do that. And so you got to be really, really aware of your body language and not be doing that. And so, you saw on the video with the kid that just went beside, and how proud the one kid was. He said it right, and just try to keep on thinking the really positive things with him. And I act him. I say, you'll get it. Just time me. You'll get it. And just have them stand beside you. But we all have kids that really struggle, or they're defiant, or they got all other issues, I mean, but this is the best way I found to connect with them. And you to figure out, let it be there. And that alone, that little tiny piece just helps a lot. But this helps with free voluntary reading. They'll do stuff for me. They've done me one, they're going to do me another favor. Sit there and read. It helps. Other thing, not interrupting each other in class, because they know I pay attention to them. I like them. They're going to pay attention to each other. Just all this stuff kind of works in concert. So I don't know if that's an adequate response to your question. I don't know if there is a total response. Yeah, you had a tough group this year. Yeah. We get those groups sometimes. Yeah. Maybe this will help you. 5% of all Americans are sociopaths. That helps. Yeah. And 1% are psychopaths. So maybe you've had a few more than your share in your class. Right, yeah. You know. It's not you, okay? Yeah, thanks a lot, Bryce. Yeah. So, this is probably asking you a lot at the end of a long day to work. Somebody have some of them that are your favorites that's been using them?
I did not use it this year, but we do DHLs, we do rejoinders. But
Uh-huh.
then I was watching another Spanish teacher, and like every, I don't know, so often she'll just say, "What's good in your world today?" Totally in English, not in the just.
Oh, yeah.
What's good in your world today? And just out of the blue, and she's like, "You'd be surprised that nothing,
Yeah.
kids will tell you
Yeah.
as they're walking in the door."
Yeah. I think it's valid. Yeah.
Just
That
what's good for you today?
And actual says 90% target language use. I've been in most CI classes, you're using 95. I think it's okay to use some English for caretaker.
Class hasn't started yet, so.
Right, yeah. Right. Exactly. So, what are some other ones that have worked for you? Yes.
I didn't.
Adios.
I didn't do passwords, but my French 1 class last year was having kind of a challenge with the Spanish 1 class as to who can learn more words and stuff.
Oh.
That was kind of funny. And they wanted to know how to say, like, oh, poor thing or poor baby. And so I taught them how to say it in French. And then I used it all the time. Like, when I had students complaining about first world problems, I was like, oh, poor
First world problems.
First world problems. And then they go, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Excellent. What are some other ones? I mean, I can tell you several of mine. I wrote a book on this, and so I have hundreds of them. But what's working for you? Yeah.
From Senor Woolley, last year we did No Me Rindo.
That's a good one.
One of my kids, she loved watching one of the videos, and so every day she came in and she would the home.
Yes, I would love that. Yeah, nada limonada. Yeah, that's a good one. That works great for call and response, and you should do cultural ones like that too if you're doing call and response. Yes.
We do details, and I have lots of them, but it's nice when you can tie the one for the week into something.
Uh-huh.
So we were watching Coco, so we did zapatero a tus zapatos.
Oh yeah.
Because they say that, and
right.
I wore my chocolate shirt.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
you're tying in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. If you don't speak Spanish, it's like shoemaker, stick to your shoes, right? Like mind your own business, kind of. So that's a good.
Idiomatic expressions like chanter le pomme, to flirt with somebody. So they'll like start to incorporate those into some of our stories, that like story asking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I think tombe dans le patte, I think, is to faint. I think I'm getting that one wrong. It's tombe dans le something. But I have a book of idioms that I'll go to for some of those.
Yeah, idiomatic expressions are great. Some that I've got a lot of mileage out of is I will ask them a question. I'll ask everyone the same question, and they have to give me an answer. And a lot of the lazy kids can just copy the person they heard before. But I say, when do you go to bed? ¿A qué hora te acuestas? Right? And that, you'd be surprised the range that you hear. Some are like 8 o'clock. Some are like 2 o'clock. This makes sense, right?
Yesterday in your class.
Yeah. Stuff like that gives you intel into them. And so that really can help a lot. You can say when you get up, and you could if they know what is coming. You could just do all kinds of stuff like that. So it could be a memorized expression. It could be a question. When I realized my Spanish 3 kids didn't know some words, and when it was like when I said it, real expression. And I nacimiento, they got fecha. They're like, wow. So I would just say that. So they would tell me their date of birth and stuff like that. Here, even, that's kind of a fun thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that could be good.
I did
Any
that,
others?
and I said something really nice about every single student. It was different for each one.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Man, I wrote a book about this. It's not out here. It's available with Teachers Discovery, and it's Spanish passwords, and goes way into more depth on this, but ideas on how to do it, why to do it, and stuff like that. So, is everybody about had it? Everybody's tired. Huh? Never mind. Okay. I am too, kind of. Yeah. Maybe we'll just go. But thank you so much. If you want to talk about this, mil gracias. Our book table's still open out there till a bit.